Now, I love MLS. I mean, I wouldn't be making this video if I didn't. But I think my favorite part about it is watching the young, bright talent emerge. It seems like every week there's a new young star that's coming through the youth ranks that has a chance to break out and possibly get a big move to Europe. In my opinion, it's how MLS and US soccer can really make it to the global stage. And because of that, I decided to make this series. I'm going to pick 5 player performances, all those players will be under the age of 22, and fit them into 5 categories: incredible, great, good, bad, and ugly. Without any further ado, here are the tiers. It hasn't been the best start to the season for Darren Yappy and the Colorado Rapids. Through 4 games, Colorado have only scored 1 goal, and Yappy has accrued about 1.2 XG, but hasn't scored a goal himself. Now, granted, leading the line for an MLS team is a big task for an 18-year-old, but nonetheless, the production hasn't been there yet. He's done a pretty good job of getting into goal-dangerous areas, but the finishing has really lacked. But against Minnesota United this weekend, it didn't seem like anything was working for Yappy. The attacking game plan for Robin Fraser's side was clear. Get the ball up to Yappy and let him hold up the ball for runners like Cole Bassett and Michael Barrios. Earlier in the game, you see Yappy execute this pretty well. Although it doesn't end in an attacking chance, this is pretty good hold-up play. But Yappy really struggled to get involved outside of that one play. On the Minnesota United side, Yappy was going up against Michael Boxall and Miguel Tapias. You can see in Yappy's heat map that he largely tried to stay around Miguel Tapias, who is 5'10" compared to Yappy being 6'1". He really physically struggled against the 5'10" Tapias and Michael Boxall, only winning 1 of 7 aerial duels throughout the game. He didn't look great on the ball either. His touches weren't great. Throughout the game, he really struggled to get involved, and he didn't even record a shot throughout the entire 90 minutes. His best moment was actually on the wing with this pretty decent 1v1 opportunity and cross. Now, this isn't by any means a code red game for Yappy. I mean, again, like I said, he's 18 years old. He needs to adapt physically. Despite him being athletic and 6'1", he still needs to adapt physically to the professional game. And Colorado just aren't really a great team, and especially with Jack Price, who's going to be out pretty long term, it's going to be a really long season, and it's going to be a season for learning for Darren Yappy. And the success will hopefully come in time. I hate to go from one bad US U20 performance to another, but I have to stay true to the facts here, guys. If you were to look at this game on paper, this is one where Edelman should thrive. Wilfred Nancy was bent on playing through the middle against the Red Bulls, which, if you know the Red Bulls, is probably the worst decision that you could do, but he decided to play through the middle anyway, and this plays directly into what Gerhard Struber wants to do. I mean, just look how the Red Bulls scored their winning goal. It's the crew, time after time, trying to break through the Red Bulls' press through the middle instead of going on the wings or over the top like teams usually do against the Red Bulls, and it cost them. If you're Edelman, this is a game you want to make a difference in as a destroyer-type defensive midfielder, but he struggled. He had some good moments, like this interception in the 3rd minute, but this is mostly an isolated incident. He was late to react, and he looked sluggish defensively, and he committed a couple fouls because of it. He even only completed 1 tackle the entire game. On the ball, which is an area Edelman needs to work on overall, he wasn't any more effective. He only logged 26 touches and a single progressive pass before he got yanked at halftime by Struber. I think this play sums up his performance pretty well. Pressing against Nagbe, he gets his approach totally wrong, but somehow a foul isn't called. When he gets the ball, instead of launching a counterattack, he hesitates way too much, and he lets the defenders come back and he underhits a ball out to the flank. I honestly wouldn't doubt if this was the exact play that led Struber to take him off at half. In that Red Bull gegenpressing system, you want to pass the ball vertically and quickly, and Edelman did the opposite here. This season was always going to be an interesting one for Tyus Magno. With no out-and-out striker in the team, Nick Cushing decided to stick his skillful, flary Brazilian winger up top instead of on the wing. This plan is a pretty risky one, considering Magno had 15 goal contributions in 2022 from the wing, and he looked poised for a breakout season this year. A lot of people, including myself, had questions early on whether this would work. In New York's first game against Nashville, You could see Magno struggled to get the position. His movement was pretty poor, his hold up play was about as good as you'd expect from a winger playing in number 9, and he dropped deep to get the ball way too often. But I have to say, signs are looking up for Magno after this Week 4 performance against DC. This game, he looked way more comfortable up top, and his movement was a big game changer for NYCFC. Let's look at his goal first. His first run to get into space and his second run, where he gets on the end of a cross to finish the goal, is textbook striker movement. This wasn't the only striker-esque run that Magno made throughout the whole game. Let's look at this play in the 44th minute. Here Pereira gets the ball and cuts inside, and Magno makes a great run across the face of Williams and opens up space for the back post. Unfortunately for NYCFC, this ball is way overhit, but it's signs that Magno is starting to adjust to his position. Against DC, he also dropped deep way less, and you can see that by the 29 touches he received all game, which is the least he's had all year. You can also see this in his heat map. And he still showed those sparks of flair that he's been known for the past couple of years in MLS. He still has to adjust with receiving the ball with his back to goal and tighten up some of his movements, but overall, the progress is positive. As much as you might not want to admit it, it's really great to see Atlanta United back again. It's even better to see an 18-year-old American at the core of their success. He's been playing at the left wing position for Gonzalo Pineda's side, which isn't his best position in my opinion, but he's getting tremendous attacking output as he's averaging a goal contribution every 51 minutes. Let's talk about why. Atlanta wants to play that vertical, counter-attacking soccer in the vein of Tata Martino teams of the past. When they win the ball, the wingers and the fullbacks bomb forward, especially down the right flank. Brooks Lennon and Luis Araujo are getting tons of touches and are carrying the ball a ton, and that's by design. You can see this in their heat maps as well. By sucking in the defenses on that right flank on the counterattack, you have a guy like Thiago Almada to quickly switch out to Wiley, who's usually in acres of space. So basically, going forward in the final third, Wiley is primarily a back post runner. For the most part, his boots are touching the chalk in possession, and his goal is to stretch out a backline as much as possible. Now, if you're a USMNT fan, you could be worried about this from a left-back development perspective. After all, he's really hardly contributing defensively, and he actually pinches inside without possession. But I do want to push back on that a little. Outside of Anthony Robinson, the US have really struggled to find a left-back with attacking purpose and ability in the final third. But you have that with Wiley. You can see this against Portland. On the ball, he's making intelligent and impressive passes with both feet. Look at his assist to Giakoumakis in this game. I'm not even sure Jedi would have been able to do this. The touch into space and the first-time ball is basically inch perfect. So although his role in Atlanta's system could be considered somewhat limited as a left-back, what he's showing is special. And if you believe the rumors, he's starting to receive serious offers from abroad as well. So watch out for Caleb Wiley.
Almada goes for it. Thiago Almada! That is world class!
This goal is mind-numbingly good, and it's easily one of the best goals that I've seen in MLS in a long time. Listen, I don't care what Nick Rimando has to say about the wall and the goalkeeper. You could have not hit this ball better than Almada did. This is as upper 90 as you can get. It's hard for me to hold in my excitement about Almada, but honestly, this free kick isn't the reason why. It's the type of stuff he did a minute before the goal. Here, Almada tries to play a through ball into Araujo in behind, but Giakoumakis intercepts the pass and instead wins a foul instead of giving Thiago Almada an assist. But the thing is, Almada's been doing this stuff all season. Listen to this. He leads the league in shot creating actions per 90, progressive passes, expected goals plus expected assists, and progressive carrying distance. He is literally a one-man wrecking crew that's doing basically everything at a league-high level. His right foot is a wand, whether it's aiming at goal or passing to a teammate with a 50-yard switch, but his best attribute is his IQ. His intelligence on the ball and his vision is a sight to behold. This specific play against Portland has got to be my favorite. Almada takes this beautifully down towards his right foot and looks up, and you can see exactly the pass he wants to hit. but instead of quickly putting a ball over the top, he puts his head down and drives towards zone 14. And you know those Portland defenders are so worried about his right foot that their eyes are all drawn towards him. And instead of taking that shot, he plays a beautifully weighted reverse ball into Andrew Gutman, who unfortunately doesn't score. But this is the type of vision that Thiago Almada brings. Now, I don't want to come out here and say he's the best player in MLS history because obviously it's such a small sample size and it's only been 4 games. But I'm not sure we've seen a 21-year-old in MLS have Almada's combination of IQ, vision, and playmaking ability. He's just super special, and he's definitely going to break the MLS transfer record in the summer. How much? God knows. Your guess is as good as mine.